Let's just go ahead and bring that in real quick. And go over here. Boom. Perfect. Okay, so give me just a moment here to get things rolling. We're going to start talking about Bloomburrow spoilers. Then after that, we're going to go into standard rotation, what it's going to mean for standard, and then we are going to take a look at the new starter decks that we just got access to today. So give me just one little second here. There we go. All right, I just need to send this on out to... Whoa. Hang on a second. There we go. That's better. Okay. I think we're almost ready here. There's my button. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this won't take too long, I'm hoping. We did get a smattering of new cards today, but not the full set. So we'll go through it. We'll see what these new cards are, talk about them, and come to our own conclusions about them. So what you're looking at right here at the top, this is cards that will not be legal for standard. These are some commander cards. They're basically old planeswalkers given the Bloomburrow treatment. Now, lore-wise, whenever like a human comes to Bloomburrow, they get automatically miniaturized and transformed into critters. So you can see here, this is Nissa, and she got turned into a frog. Liliana got turned into, I'm assuming, a squirrel or a rat. I think a squirrel. And then you have Jace, the Mind Sculptor here. He got turned into a fox person. So that'll be plenty of fun for all of the like furries or people who enjoy like anthropomorphic animals and things like that. So we got some fun stuff for just about everyone here. Okay, now let's go ahead and move into the stuff that actually is legal for standard. So we start with this guy right here. His name is Dream Dew Entrancer. For 2 colors, a green and a blue, it is a frog wizard. You're going to be having a lot of really fun, like taglines, creature tags like frog wizard, frog druid, otters, things like that. So this is Dream Dew Entrancer, a creature frog wizard. He's a 3/4. He has reach. And when Dream Dew Entrancer enters, tap up to 1 target creature and put 3 stun counters on it. If you control that creature, draw 2 cards. Interesting. So you can tag your own creature with this and draw 2 cards off of it, and then maybe bounce the creature that you stunned so that you can play it again without the stun counters on it. That's pretty interesting. I like that. So it's a way to get benefit off of maybe say like a creature token or a 1/1 creature, or is this something that doesn't really make a whole lot of difference like combat wise? You just throw it back into your hand. Or if you splash white, you can blink a creature back with no stun counters on it. That might be the play, actually. Okay, what else we got here? We have Clement the Worrywart. I love these names. These are great names. So this is a legendary creature, Frog Druid, for 1, a green, and a blue. It's a 3/3 with Vigilance. Whenever Clement the Worrywart or another creature you control enters, return up to 1 target creature you control with lesser mana value to its owner's hand. Okay, I think we're starting to see the theme here. Utilize the Dream Do Entrancer to draw cards off of your own creature, stunning it, and then bounce it with Clement. So I wonder, with Clement on the table, can you stack triggered effects in the way that I'm thinking? So let's say you have Clement the Worrywart on the table already, and then you play Dream Do Entrancer. You play it, and then you say you tag Clement with the Dream Do Entrancer, tapping it, putting stun counters on it, and then you automatically bounce Clement back to your hand because Clement costs 1 mana less than Dream Do Entrancer. I wonder if the triggers going on the stack, you can stack them in that way that all of this happens with just like one deft movement, and then you just draw 2 cards for playing Dream Do Entrancer. That may not be too bad. I kind of like that, where that's going. Okay, let's see what else this guy says. So you can bounce a creature with a lesser mana value, and frogs you control have tap, add blue or green. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. An ad blocker might be nice. Yeah, you got the silly ad on the side there. I'll do my best to ignore it. You know what I can do? I can do this. Let's go like this, and then stretch this out just a little bit. Stretch that out, because we might be able to just kind of go like this. There we go. That gets rid of most of the nasty ads for you. Maybe that'll help. But yeah, I may want to invest in an ad blocker. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So after the Dream Do Entrancer, we have this thing here called the 3-Tree City. It's a legendary land. As 3-Tree City enters, choose a creature type. Okay, then you can tap it and add a colorless, or pay 2 and tap, choose a color. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. That is an interesting build around, because you might be able to play enough of like a single like typal creature to generate more than 2 mana off of this city here. But that's going to require a lot of setup for not that much benefit, especially because you can interact with creatures, and you can just knock out a bunch of creatures. You can board wipe, that kind of thing. And then the 3-Tree City basically just becomes a colorless tap land. So I'm not sold on this just yet. However, what I am sold on are the seasons. Look at this. You have 4 different versions of it, each with a different season. You have winter, what looks like spring over here in the middle, or maybe summer. This might be spring, this might be summer, this might be fall over here. But I do really like that. That's pretty cool. Okay, and then we got swamp. Okay, let's take a look at these full art lands real quick. These are beautiful, like really nice looking. You got a swamp, and another swamp in a different season. Okay, so you've got 4 seasons of each of your basic lands. Then you got the plains here in winter, spring, summer, and fall. You have the island. Interesting. I like the island a lot. Especially this one right here, this green one with like the lily pads. That's really nice. Okay, and then you got the forests here with a little rabbit explorer person. That's pretty cool. I like that. Nice. Okay, let's move on past the lands. Next we have the Stormcatch Mentor. So the Stormcatch Mentor is red and a blue. It is an otter wizard. It's a 1/1 with haste and prowess. So already, I dislike it because it has prowess, and prowess pisses me off. Not a fan. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay, so it's a spell slinger. It has haste. It has prowess. It's going to smack me in the face a lot. I know it, and I know I'm probably going to come to hate this card paired up with Slick Shot Show Off. This card's going to be a pain in the butt, and I just know it. Okay. All right, so here is a Planeswalker that actually we will be able to play with, and this is Ral the Crackling Wit. I believe this card was previously showcased, I think like a month or two ago. But he's a 2 colorless, blue and red, legendary Ral. He has 4 loyalty to start off with, and he has a static ability that says, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a loyalty counter on Ral Crackling Wit. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So like you play him, you play like maybe some plotted cards that happen to be instants or sorceries, and maybe you just start flinging things around like 1 mana spells like shocks or consider, opt, things like that, and you just climb loyalty counters on Ral until you get him up to 10, and then you just blow him up. Okay, his abilities though. +1, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. Okay, again, that's that prowess word that I hate so much. And then we have -3 is draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. That's not too bad. And then the -10 is draw 3 cards. You can emblem with instant and sorcery spells you cast have storm. Okay, yeah. So Ral's probably going to be something you're going to want to answer immediately, or just in a way that prevents him from getting to 10, because that is an absurd power. Absolutely absurd. Okay. Next up we have, I'm going to call her Moira, the Trash Tactician. This is a raccoon warrior, better known as Trash Pandas. So 1 colorless, 1 red, and 1 green. For a legendary creature, Raccoon Warrior, at the beginning of your first main phase, add a red or green for each raccoon you control. Okay, already I'm getting flashbacks to like werewolf decks. Whenever you expend 4, you gain 3 life. So, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the expend mechanic means whenever you spend at least 4 mana on your turn, that'll trigger. And I think it might only trigger once per turn. And whenever you expend 8, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your turn, you may play those cards. But if you're expending 8, how are you going to play those cards? You're going to have to generate a lot of mana, or have cards that are really cheap to play. Okay. Next up, we have Mabel, Heir to the Cragflame. Mabel's a card that we've seen already, and honestly, a pretty strong card. For a colorless, a red and a white, you get a 3/3 legendary creature, Mouse Soldier. So you can play him in your soldier decks if you want to. Other mice you control get +1/+1. When Mabel, Heir to Cragflame, enters, create Cragflame, a legendary colorless equipment artifact token with equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has Vigilance, Trample, Haste, and Equip 2. That's not bad. I mean, +1/+1 and what's the word? Useful combat effects, relevant combat effects. That's not too bad. I would not be too upset seeing that on the table. Okay, next up we have Castrol the Wind Crusted. This is a bird scout, 3 colors, a white and a blue, 4/5, flying. Whenever 1 or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, choose 1. You may put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control, or draw a card. That first effect is really damn strong. Being able to resurrect a bird or get a bird out of your hand onto the table, that's really, really strong. The thing we need to think about here is that birds are not only coming from this set. We need to be thinking about older cards that happen to be birds as well. Thieving Magpie comes to mind. Not in standard, but still comes to mind. Phineas, the Ace Archer, is a 2/2 Vigilance and Reach, is a rabbit archer, and it costs a green and a white. Whenever Phineas, Ace Archer, attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control that's a token or a rabbit. Then, if creatures you control have a total power of 10 or greater, draw a card. That will be really easy to get to. Like if the enchantment decks, like the green-white enchantment decks, are anything to go off of, a card like this is going to be very easy to go wide, then go tall, and get that trigger very easily. That's a pretty strong card. I like that. Especially because it only costs 2 mana. Even if like all of this text down here didn't exist, a 2 mana 2/2 with Vigilance and Reach, that's just strong right there. That's just really good right out the gate. All this extra text down here is just a bonus. Camellia the Seed Miser. 1 colorless, black, green, 3/3, Menace. It is a squirrel warlock. Other squirrels you control have Menace. Wow. Other squirrels you control have Menace. So all squirrels have Menace because that character has Menace as well. Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. 2 and Forage. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other squirrel you control. That's good. That's really good. So again, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Forage basically means either sacrifice a food token or remove a card in your graveyard from the game. I think that's how it works. That's a strong ass card. That's really good. I like that. Okay, we got another one here. This is Alania, Divergent Storm. 3 colors, a blue and a red for a 3/5 otter wizard. Otters. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant spell, the first sorcery spell, or the first otter spell other than Alania you've cast this turn, you may have target opponent draw a card. If you do, copy the spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. You know what? Yeah, I think I'll let someone draw a card so I can play a ridiculous card twice. Maybe I want to play Time Walk twice, or Time Warp, I mean. And yeah, you can draw a card. I'll take 2 extra turns. That doesn't sound too bad to me. That's a pretty good trade-off. All right, Wear Down. 1 colorless and a green, sorcery. Gift a card. So gift a card means that you can make your opponent draw a card in order to get in a bonus effect. So it's a kind of like reverse kicker, I guess. Gift a card. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. If the gift was promised, instead destroy 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. That's pretty damn good. Only 2 mana for double disenchant. I like it. I like it a lot. Nissa Who Shakes the World. So that's Nissa's frog form here. That is for you Commander enjoyers. And Chatterfang Squirrel General gets a reprint for Commander as well. Then there is some very cool Liliana art. It's like just cool art. Like I got nothing negative to say about that. Like if Liliana was a squirrel, that would be pretty damn cool. Okay, now we have this very interesting card. I saw this on Twitter earlier today. This is Fell. 1 colorless and a black. Destroy target creature. No setbacks other than the fact that this is a sorcery speed spell. This is non-instant. So, unfortunately, Go for the Throat is technically still better than this card. So, but if you want to play at slow speed, destroying a creature for only 2 mana with no restrictions, sounds pretty good to me. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't like sorcery though. Thunder Trap Trainer. 1 colorless and a blue. Otter Wizard. 1/2. It has an offspring cost of 4. And so what offspring means is you can pay the additional cost. Like this is kind of like a kicker cost. And if you do, you make a 1/1 copy of this card and put it into play. So it will be a copy of this card and all of its text Only difference is it's just a 1/1 creature. When this creature enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, that's not too bad. It basically allows you to impulse twice. So like you reveal. Okay, how many cards off the top? Yeah, it's 4 cards off the top, and you reveal a non-creature, non-land card. So you reveal a spell from the top, and you just put it into your hand and put the rest on the bottom. Yeah, so it's literally impulse for spells, and you get to do it twice if you pay the kicker. Honestly, most cases, if I'm playing this card, I probably won't even pay the kicker cost. I'll just play it as a 1/2 that gives me impulse, or just play impulse. Shoreline Looter, 1 and a blue for a 1/1 rat rogue. Shoreline Looter can't be blocked. Threshold. That's right, we're getting Threshold back. Threshold is an ancient mechanic that requires you to have I think it's 8 or more cards in your graveyard. Threshold. Whenever a Shoreline Looter deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then discard a card unless 7 or more cards are in your graveyard. Yeah, 7 or more, not 8. My bad. Okay, honestly, for an uncommon, that's not bad at all, especially because it's not blockable. So this is just, in the early game, it's just a 1/1 that can trigger ninjutsu for you, or just gets a little bit of extra damage in, and then later in the game, it becomes a looter for you. Not too bad. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. So, Season of Weaving. This one is interesting. It's kind of like a modal, spree style card, and it's got these 3 little paw counters on it. So let's read this. Season of Weaving, 4 colorless and 2 blue. Choose up to 5 paws worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. Okay, so if you choose the 1 paw mode 5 times, this reads draw 5 cards. That's not too bad. Or 2 paws, choose an artifact or creature you control, create a token that's a copy of it. Okay, cool. Or 3 paws, return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand. Okay, that's kind of cool. Would be cooler if it was instant speed, but sorcerer speed we can work with. So if we pay 3 paws for the bounce everything, and then 2 more paws for draw 2 cards, this basically becomes a controllable upheaval that also draws you 2 cards. That's not bad at all. I kind of like that card. I kind of like it a lot. All right, Hop to It. 2 and a white. Sorcery. Create 3 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens. I'm thinking rabbits may be a go wide strategy, multiplying like rabbits. Bravekin Duo. 1 white mana for a 1/1 rabbit mouse. Okay, so it's a rabbit and it's a mouse. It's the Bravekin Duo. Creature, rabbit mouse, 1 and a tap. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Activate as a sorcerer. Okay, it's a draft common, but it's a really cute one. I like that a lot. It's like the story that it's telling here. Like, you got these 2 little friends going on an adventure together. Sure, it's represented as just like a single 1/1, and the ability is kind of meh, but that art and the story it's telling here is really cool. Actually, let's read the flavor text. Did you bring everything you need for the journey? The rabbit asked. Of course I did. I brought you, my dear pinecone, the mouse replied. Okay, that's really cute. That's wholesome as hell. Okay. Oh, I believe this is a reprint. This is Run Away Together. 1 and a blue. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by different players. Return those creatures to their owner's hands. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Okay, let's read the flavor text in this one too. Nobody bothered to look for Lebo and Pulla because everyone knew they didn't want to be found. I think I'm gonna like this set. If we're getting a lot of wholesome stuff like this, then I'm gonna really like this set. Okay, let's move on. Ruthless Negotiation. Okay. The art alone is really cool. You got a little fox or otter person holding a blade to this trash pan over here. You got all um these skulls in the back. What kind of animal are these? Like these could be like mice, or they could be otters. Or to tell the story here, they could be skulls of other raccoons, just like this raccoon that is being threatened by this otter here. Interesting choice. Okay, let's read the card. 1 black mana, sorcery. Target opponent exiles a card from their hand. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, draw a card. Okay, so it's uncontrollable discard that you can flash back and reuse later, and also draw a card with it. That's pretty. It's pretty meh, but it's a meh that draws you cards, and it's also a way to kind of like split up a mind rot across 2 turns. So like turn 1, if you don't have anything better to do, you can use this and knock out another card from your opponent's hand, which can be pretty devastating if your opponent is mulliganing already. That could be pretty good. Yeah, and because it's the opponent's choice, this card can potentially hit lands, as opposed to other cards like Duress that can't hit lands at all. So I'm interested to see how a card like this is going to be played. I'm on the fence about it. I don't know if I like it or not. We'll see. Repel Calamity, 1 and a white, instant. Destroy target creature with power or toughness 4 or greater. Okay, that's actually a pretty solid removal. Unfortunately, it only gets creatures. I personally like spells like this to be able to also hit like enchantments or artifacts or planeswalkers. Being able to hit multiple types of cards is good. But for only 2 mana, knocking out a big creature so your little guys can get through, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay. Valley Rotcaller. That's a cool name. 1 and a black for a 1/3 Squirrel Warlock. Now, Warlock, don't forget, that is an outlaw. So this will go into your outlaw decks from Thunder Junction. So keep that in mind. 1/3 Menace. Whenever Valley Rotcaller attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of the squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. That's cool. I like that because it triggers for a bunch of different card types. Now, my mind is also on the outlaw train too. Now, what other kind of cards are typically outlaws? Rats. Rats are often rogues, which is an outlaw type, and lizards. There are a handful of lizards from Thunder Junction that are also outlaws. So this card could very easily pull double duty in a creature typal or an outlaw typal kind of deck. I think I'm going to be keeping my eye on this card. That card could be sneakily good. All right, next up, we have the Veteran Guard Mouse. Valiant, 3/4, 3 and either a red or white. Whenever a Veteran Guard Mouse becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, it gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn, and scry 1. Okay, so Valiant, and it reads, whenever it becomes the target of a spell ability you control for the first time each turn. So that reminds me of, was it Heroic? Or something along those lines. It was a mechanic from, I think, it was the, what set was it? I forget the name of this set, but it was a set that was based around Greek mythology. But that's the mechanic that this is very much reminding me of. So I'm thinking we'll probably get a few more cards with the Valiant keyword on it, and we might be able to see some very interesting buffing effects. So, and also, it says spell or ability, and equip from equipments is an ability that targets creatures. So you can just equip like a Sword of Fire and Ice or something onto a creature like this and still get its bonus. That's pretty good. Junk Blade Bruiser. 3 and 2 of either red or green in either combination. 4/5, Trample, Raccoon Berserker. That's pretty cool. Whenever you expend 4, so spend 4 mana on a turn, Junkblade Bruiser gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Okay, so it becomes a 6/6 Trampler if you expend at least 4 on your turn. Not too bad. And the art is amazing. I love that art. That is really cool looking. Head of the Homestead. Okay, this is a Rabbit Citizen. This is a 3/2 for 5 mana. So that's 3 colorless and 2 of either white or green. When Head of the Homestead enters, create 2 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens. This is prime for blink decks. Blink decks, bounce decks, that kind of thing. Like just bounce that or flicker that a bunch of times and just make a ton of rabbits. That could be pretty cool. Hop to it. We already saw this. This is just different art. Pond Prophet. Okay, I like this already without even reading it. So 2 of Simics, and it's a 1/1 Frog Advisor. When Pond Prophet enters, draw a card. Okay, that's pretty cool actually. And I like this because this can be played in mono green, or mono blue, or Simic. It's your choice. So like, if you want to play mono green and have access to card draw, Pond Prophet is there for you. Seed Pod Squire, 3/3, Bird Scout for 3 colorless and a white or blue. I'm going to say this. I am really enjoying the hybrid mana being so relevant lately. I do really like that. Flying. When Seed Pod Squire attacks, target creature you control without flying gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Not too bad. It's a kind of a draft chaff kind of card, but it's not too bad. I'm sure you'll see this in blue-white flyers. Shrike Force. Okay. 2 and a white, 1/3, Flying Double Strike Vigilance Bird Knight. Oh, wow. You see, this reminds me of like, it was an Ice Age, a long time ago. It was like Kildoran Sky Knight, I think it was. And it was a 1/1 flyer that had like flying, first strike, and I think like banding. So like this really feels like a callback to that. Of course, this has much better keywords now. Flying Double Strike Vigilance on a 1/3 body for 3 mana. Honestly, I'm tempted to play that like in like Constructed. Like that just looks like a fun card to just load stuff up onto. Moonrise Cleric. This is 1 and double Orzhov for a 2/3 Bat Cleric. It has flying. Whenever Moonrise Cleric attacks, you gain 1 life. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's again, draft kind of card. But I do know from watching the videos from Magic earlier today that the bats are going to have a very strong life gain, life loss trigger on your own turn kind of like theme to it. So this could be a role player in the bat deck. We'll see. Mind Drill Assailant is a rat warlock. That is another outlaw. Keep that in mind. 2/5 Threshold. As long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, Mind Drill Assailant gets +3/+0. So, if you have Threshold, this is a 5/5 for 4 mana. So just keep that in mind. 2 colorless and either a blue or black. Surveil 1. Alright, cool. So it can surveil for itself and put cards into your graveyard to activate and get up to Threshold. That's not bad. I mean, this can be really, I think that's going to be pretty good in draft specifically. It's like, I don't think anyone's going to be playing that in standard, but that's a pretty cool card. Like, thematically, I like that a lot. Shoreline Looter, we saw that already. Tempest Angler is an otter wizard for 1 colorless and double is it. 2/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Tempest Angler. That's not bad. It reminds me of the I forget the name, but it's a dwarf. It's a red dwarf for 1 colorless and 1 red that gets +1/+1 counters whenever you play non-creature spells. So this is just like a slightly different version of it. Though this one might end up being a little bit better because of the otter tribe. So like you'll probably have support cards that are going to want or seek otters. So that might make this a little bit better than the dwarf. Time will tell. Stormcatch Mentor, we saw that one already. Haste Prowess, instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast. Pretty good card. Cindering Cutthroat, interesting. And very interesting art, I like that art a lot. 3/2 for 2 and a Rakdos. Cindering Cutthroat enters with a +1/+1 counter on it if an opponent lost life this turn. Okay, so that tells me that the Rakdos tribe is going to be very aggressive. 1 and a Rakdos mana. Cindering Cutthroat gains menace until end of turn. Okay, cool. I like that. Not too bad. So like, especially because like this will be useful for other cards that want your opponents to lose life over time. Or if you have another Cindering Cutthroat in your hand, you can ensure that you hit with the first one, so the second one comes in with a +1 counter. Corpseberry Cultivator. What a name. Squirrel Warlock. Oh, also Lizard Assassin. That's an outlaw. Squirrel Warlock. That's an outlaw too. 2/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may forage. Awesome. That's great. Whenever you forage, put a +1/+1 counter on Corpseberry Cultivator. Not too bad. So it'll be like a support card in the forage deck. Cash Grab. 1 and a green, instant. Mill 4 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. If you control a squirrel or returned a squirrel card to your hand this way, create a food token. Okay, I'm seeing a very thematic thing here. Cash Grab puts things into your graveyard, gives you food tokens. Corpseberry Cultivator can activate Forage to eat the tokens or eat the cards in the graveyard. Really, really cool, very thematic. I like where they're going with it. I might want to build a Golgari the squirrel deck. Valley Rotcaller is a squirrel warlock. That's outlaw. 1 and a black for a 1/3 with menace. Whenever Valley Rotcaller attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of other squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. Okay, we saw that one already. This one just has different art, so I didn't recognize it. Yeah. My thoughts remain the same. That card's going to be good. I'm going to be playing that card. Beza, the Bounding Spring. 4/5, Legendary Elemental Elk. Is a 2 and 2 white to cast. When Beza the Bounding Spring enters, create a treasure token if an opponent controls more lands than you. You gain 4 life if an opponent has more life than you. Create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens if an opponent controls more creatures than you. Draw a card if an opponent has more cards in hand than you. Okay, so this is a catch-up card, something that will allow you to balance things out just a little bit. Not too bad. Also, a great target for flicker effects. Definitely something you want to bounce in and out of play often. There we go. One moment. Okay, cool. Just want to check my time here. All right, let's move on. I want to get through the rest of these. Thorn Vault Forager. 1 in a green, 2/2. Squirrel Ranger. Okay. And you can tap him for a green, or you can tap in Forage to add 2 mana in any combination of colors. That's really good. I like that. That's really good. 3 in a green, tap, search your library for a squirrel card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Cool, I like it. There's Beza again. Tender Wild Guide is a 2/2 possum druid. He's a possum? Oh my god. Sorry. 1 and a grain, 2/2 possum druid. Offspring cost of 2, so you can make a copy of this if you want to. And he taps for add 1 mana of any color, and also taps put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So you can tap him to make himself bigger if you don't have anything to spend the mana on. Or you just pay 2 mana or 4 mana to create 2 mana dorks. That's pretty cool. Kidnap. 2 colors, 2 blue, gift a card. So gift a card means your opponent gets to draw a card. Enchant creature. When Kidnap enters, tap enchanted creature. If the gift was not promised, put 3 stun counters on it. You control enchanted creature. Okay, so this is a control magic that if you gift for your opponent gets to draw a card, and you tap the creature, it's now yours. Your next turn, you get to actually do something with it. Or you can choose not to let your opponent draw, and then you just put 3 stun counters on it and take it, which would be decent for cards that you don't really necessarily want to attack or block with, but you definitely want their effect. So if your opponent has a Sheldred out, you can just not gift a card and take their Sheldred and just let it sit on the table stunned for a while. Wear Down. 1 and a green, gift a... Okay, we saw that one already. That's the double disenchant. Wandertail Mentor. Creature Raccoon Bard, so 2/2 for a red and a green. Whenever you expend 4, put a +1/+1 counter on Wandertail Mentor. Not bad. And it taps for either a red or a green. Cool. Thorn Vault Forager. Did we see that already? Yeah, we saw one already. Okay. Here's something I've been looking forward to. I heard about these cards earlier. They're basically the new classes, but instead of like warrior, rogue, cleric, like we had before, these are more like jobs. So they're going to be like baker, blacksmith, hunter, things like that. So the way these are going to work is it's an enchantment, and you just put it onto the table for its cost, and then over time you feed more mana into it to gain levels in the card. So let's read what this does. Hunter's Talent. Gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. When Hunter's Talent enters, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Okay, so it's a striking spell when you just cast it. 1 and a green to get to level 2. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Okay, also cool. Not to all of your creatures, just to 1. And then level 3 is 3 colorless and a green. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Okay, cool. Not too bad for an uncommon. 2 mana strike spell, then 2 mana creature buff spell, and then 4 mana just draw cards at the end of turn, because you're going to have creatures of 4 or greater, because you're going to build your deck around that. That's honestly not too bad. I like it. Okay. Okay, this is a commander card. This is not going to be standard legal, but I'll read it anyway since we're here. Flubs the Fool. This is a green, blue, and red card. It's a 0/5 legendary frog scout. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Okay, so it comes in with exploration attached to it. Pretty cool. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. If you have no cards in hand. Otherwise, discard a card. Let me read that again. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card if you have no cards in hand. Otherwise, discard. Oh, okay. So this card wants you to get to Hellbent real fast. And then with the last card that you play, you then start drawing cards. So you want to make sure that you keep just like 1 card in hand at all times. Interesting mechanic. It doesn't sound good to me, though. I'm sure someone will break it. Someone smarter than me will break it. Okay, a Thunder Trap Trainer. Okay, we saw that one already. It's just different art. Tender Wild Guide. We saw that one too. That's Kidnap. We saw that. Bellow, Bard of the Brambles. Okay, that's Commander, 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 Commander. Okay, here's something. This is Maha. It's Feathers Knight. This is for 5 black mana, an elemental bird, legendary. 6/5, flying, trample. Ward, discard a card. Creatures your opponents control have base toughness 1. That's pretty good with trample. Get a lot of extra damage over them. But also makes it really easy to kill your opponent's creatures with -1/-1 effects. I would play this card with the new Massacre Girl from Markov Manor. That actually sounds like a deck right there. Especially because Massacre Girl costs 4, Maha costs 5. That's a 4 into 5 perfect curve right there. And if you happen to have -1/-1 effects, either in play on the table, like say like you have like an Elish Norn or something, or a Karavak, then that's just going to keep your opponent permanently punished until they remove Maha. That card's busted. That card is absolutely biggity busted. I love it. Okay, here we have Igra, Eater of All. It's an elemental cat, 3 colorless, in black and a green. Elemental cat, 6/6, ward, sacrifice a food. Other creatures are food artifacts in addition to their other types, and have pay 2 mana, tap, sacrifice this permanent, you gain 3 life. I like that. I like that a lot. Whenever a food is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, so that's any graveyard, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Igra, Eater of All. Give that cat trample, and you're just going to town. Especially if since you're already in black, you're going to have access to Maha as well. Ooh, that's dirty. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay, there's Ral again. We already saw him. Very cool card. Osteomancer Adept. What's this? So 2/2 Death Touch for 2. It's a Squirrel Warlock, so that means it's an outlaw. Death Touch, tap. Until end of turn, you may cast creature spells from your graveyard by foraging in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter. Wow. That's actually really good. So you can just tap it, sacrifice a food token, or remove 3 other cards from your graveyard, and just recast something from your graveyard. That's really good. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's a good card. I think that might see play. Alania, Divergent Storm. We saw this already. It's a very cool card. Oh, what's this? Season of Loss. So this is one of those pause card. So it's 3 colorless and 2 black. Sorcery. Choose up to 5 pause worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. Each player's... Whoa. Each player sacrifices a creature. You can choose that up to 5 times. That is the most ridiculous barter in blood I've ever seen. That is cool. That's going to be a board wipe every time you cast it like that. Okay, or 2 pause. Draw a card for each creature you control that died this turn. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Or 3 pause. Each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creature cards in your grave. Oh, whoa. Okay, you play yourself like a mid-range or an aggressive deck, and just say your opponent kills all your creatures, or you kill all your own creatures, and then you just finish the game with the 3rd mode. Also, you can do the 3rd mode plus the 1st mode twice, and that's guaranteed damage right there. Oh, that's a dirty card. I like that a lot. Okay, what's Season of the Bold? This is the red one. 3 colorless, 2 red. Choose up to 5 paws worth of modes. 1 paw, create a tap treasure token. Cool. 2 paws, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play them. 3 paws, until end of turn, or until end of your next turn, Whenever you cast a spell, Season of the Bold deals 2 damage to up to 1 target creature. It says creature, not player, or not any target. If this said creatures or planeswalkers, it would still be pretty good. But the fact that this cannot go face, it's not really good. I personally like Season of Loss a lot more than Season of the Bold. Glarb, Calamity's Augur. This is a frog wizard noble for a black, a green, and a blue. 2/4 Death Touch. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Very cool. You may play lands and cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library. And it taps to Surveil too. Wow. That's actually pretty damn good. So, like, this is a card that you can go into your Threshold decks. And also the Surveil 2 just makes it so you find whatever you need off the top of your library to cast or play lands from. That card's kind of good. Especially because it has Death Touch too. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. That's a good card. There's Maha again. We saw that. There's Ygra. Honestly, between this art here and this art here, I think I like that one more. That art looks a lot more menacing. I like that. There's another Ral. Artist's Talent. Okay, so this is another one of the class cards. So let's find out what this does. 1 in a red mana. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Wow, that's pretty good. That can just help you craft the perfect hand. 2 in a red to upload to level 2. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay, so this is for the Otter deck. Yeah. And then 2 in a red to get to level 3. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals damage plus 2 and... that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, between the stuff that we're seeing so far from Bloomburrow and all of the slick shot stuff that we saw from Thunder Junction, I think post-rotation, we're going to have a really good Spellslinger deck. That might actually end up being one of the first decks we build come post-rotation. Yeah. Keep your eye on Artist's Talent. That's a pretty good role player right there. Valley Quest Caller. It's 1 in a white. It's a 2/3 Rabbit Warrior. Whenever 1 or more other rabbits, bats, birds, and or mice you control enter, scry 1. Alright, that's pretty cool already. Other rabbits, birds, bats, and mice you control get +1/+1. Okay, so for 2 mana, it's a 2/3 that anthems your entire team. And it also allows you to scry when more of them come in. Now, it says enter. That means enter the battlefield. So it means whenever rabbit tokens come in, you get to scry 1. And there's a lot of ways to make rabbit tokens. Warren Warleader. 4/4 for 2 colorless and 2 white. Rabbit Knight. Offspring 2. Whenever you attack, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token that's tapped and attacking. Or attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Now, this says Offspring, so if you pay 6 mana for this, you get a 4/4 and a 1/1, both of which have that entire text box. It's kind of like Backup from a couple sets ago, except kind of better a little bit. Yeah, because Backup only lasts for the turn. This is permanent. And if your opponent doesn't deal with your Offspring or this creature itself, that's going to get out of hand real quick. Kind of like that. That's pretty good. There's Moya the Trash Tactician again. We saw that earlier. Camellia, Osteomancer Adept. Okay, Tidecaller Mentor. This is new. 3/3 Rat Wizard for 1, a blue and a black. Menace. Threshold. When Tidecaller Mentor enters, if 7 or more cards in your graveyard, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Okay. That's a decent effect for an uncommon. It's a bounce spell on a 3/3 with Menace. I'm not arguing with that. That's a decent card. It's likely going to be something you're going to see in Draft. I don't think it's good enough for Standard, though. For Draft, though, keep an eye out for that. Pretty good. especially because it's Menace. There's Alania Divergent Storm again. Lily Splash Mentor. What is this? 4/4 for 2 colorless, a green, and a blue. Frog Druid. Reach. You can pay 1, a green, and a blue. Exile another target creature you control. Then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Activate as a sorcery. Okay, so you pay a little bit of mana and you get a flicker effect, and it flickers back in with a +1/+1 counter on it. I like the theme of the Simic frogs. I like it a lot. I think it's going to be a pretty fun deck. Once we see more of the frogs, I think we might have a better idea of like what this deck's going to be doing. Okay, there's Calamity's Augur again. We saw that already. Season of Weaving, we saw that. Season of Loss, Season of the Bold. Castrol the Windcrested, we read that already. Phineas, Valley Quest Caller, we saw that. Parting Guest, I don't think we saw that yet. For 2 white mana, instant, gift a tapped fish. Okay, that's different. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast this spell. If you do, they create a tapped 1/1 blue fish creature token before its other effects. Okay, so you give them a fish. Would you like a fish in this trying time? Exile target non-token creature. If the gift wasn't promised, return that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, I'm liking this. So this reads, exile target non-token creature. So you can gift a fish to your opponent to permanently get rid of their creature, or you don't gift and you use this on your own creature to flicker something out and then back in with a +1/+1 counter. I'm liking where this card is going. That's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Star Seer Mentor, 3/5 Bat Warlock, so it's an outlaw. 3 colorless, white and black, flying, vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, target opponent loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Interesting. Beginning of end step, if you gained or lost life this turn. So if you gained or lost life, not if your opponent gained or lost life. So this is 100% on you. So you're going to need to be playing this with other cards that maybe have like lifelink or gain life off of a triggered ability, or maybe you are paying life to cause something to happen. A lot of interesting ways to build around this card. I like it. What I like more about it is it's not a legendary creature. I'm so tired of every card with cool abilities being legendary. We need more non-legendary creatures. This card's cool. I like him. I like him a lot. There's the Trash Tactician again. Warren War Leader. Fireglass Mentor. What's this? 2/1 for a red and a black. Lizard Warlock, so it's an outlaw. At the beginning of your second main phase, if an opponent lost life this turn, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. Until end of turn, you may play that card. That kind of reminds me of the Vampire Florian. Florian is a 3/3 first strike that allows you to look at cards on the top of your library equal to the amount of life your opponent lost this turn, and then you can play one of those cards. So this is like a watered down version of that. Interesting card. Okay, there's Camellia again. There's 3 Tree City. Plume Creed Mentor. Okay, what's this? 2/3 Bird Scout for 1 a white and a blue. Flying. Whenever Plume Creed Mentor or another creature you control with flying enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control without flying. Oh, without flying. Interesting. So a deck like this maybe doesn't want to be 100% skies. All right, Castrol the Windcrested, we read that already. Seedglaive Mentor, what's this? This is a 3/2 Mouse Soldier for 1 a red and a white. Vigilance and Haste. We're seeing a lot of creatures with Vigilance. I don't know how I feel about that. A lot of creatures have vigilance in this set. Valiant. Whenever a Seed Glaive Mentor becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. You know, I think we saw this one earlier. Either way, cool card. Flowerfoot Swordmaster is a mouse soldier. 1/2 for 1 mana with Offspring of 2. Valiant. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, mice you control get +1/+1. Oh. That's interesting. I don't think it's particularly good. I do like that the Offspring cost is relatively low, so like on turn 3, you can cast this and get its little buddy to come out with you. But you're also going to need targeting effects for both of your creatures in order to get the maximum benefit out of it. All right, there's Phineas the Ace Archer again. Here we have Hugs, the Grizzly Guardian. He's a very cool looking dude. He's a Badger Warrior. So get ready to hear Badger, 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 Badger. 5/5 for double red, double green, and X. Trample. When Hugs enters, exile the top X cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Okay. This is pretty cool. Even without like that extra effect, even if you're just playing this as a 4 mana 5/5 trample, if X is 0, this is a 5/5 trampler with a built-in exploration. That's really good. That's really good. I like him. He's good. I might actually play him. Bloomburrow, Belle of the Woods. This is a card that we've seen before. Is a star for 6 mana. Vigilance, Reach, Elemental Bear. Bloomburrow, Bellow of the Woods' power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. When Bloomburrow enters, mill 4 cards. Then, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are losing all of the New Capenna fetch lands by the time this comes into Standard. But there are other ways to sacrifice lands, like manlands dying, maybe lands that you would need to cycle, or let's say, for example, you self-milled a lot, or if you played lands like, say, like Blasting Zone that would destroy other cards. You can get those cards back. So Bloomburrow might not be too shabby. I kind of like it. I would like it more if it had Trample, because that's going to be a big boy. But Vigilance and Reach is pretty strong too, though. There's Mabel, heir to Cragflame. We saw that earlier. Salvation Swan. It's a bird cleric. 3/3 for 3 and a white. It has Flash. That sells me on it already. Flying. Whenever Salvation Swan or another bird you control enters, exile up to 1 target creature you control without flying. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. Holy damn, that's good. It comes back with a flying counter. So instead of bringing it back with a +1/+1 counter, it comes back with permanent flying. That's really cool. I'm going to be really happy to play that. Lilypad Village. Land. Taps for a colorless. Taps for a blue. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. 1 blue. Tap. Surveil 2. Activate only if a bird, frog, otter, or rat enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Alright, that's pretty cool. And I assume we have, others. Lupinflower Village, so taps for colorless, taps for a white that you can only use to cast on a creature. 1 and a white and tap, sacrifice Lupinflower Village, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a bat, bird, mouse, or rabbit card from among them, put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library. The black one, sacrifice Mudflat Village, return target bat, lizard, rat, or squirrel from your graveyard to your hand. I like that. Oak Hollow Village. A green and tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each frog, rabbit, raccoon, or squirrel you control that entered the battlefield this turn. Okay, all right. I was about to say, if it's like just all of them, that'd be crazy. And the red one is Rock Face Village. Red and tap, target lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon you control gets +1/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Yeah, it's alright. Carrot cake! What the hell is this? 1 and a white artifact food. When carrot cake enters and when you sacrifice it, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token and scry 1. 2 tap, sacrifice carrot cake, gain 3 life. It's food. It makes dudes. It's dude food. I like it. Early winter. 4 colorless and 1 black. Instant. Choose 1. Exile target creature. Target opponent exiles an enchantment they control. Okay. So, black enchantment hate. Not too bad. It's expensive as hell, but black enchantment hate is always going to be expensive. That's the cost for breaking the color pie. Might of the Meek. 1 red. Instant. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. It also gets +1/+0 until end of turn if you control a mouse. Cool. Draw a card. It's a cantrip. It's got bonuses. It's a decent card. Decent little combat trick. Pearl of Wisdom. 2 colors and a blue. Sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control an otter. Draw 2 cards. Okay. 2 mana, draw 2 if you have an otter. Cool. Sun Shower Druid. It's a frog druid. It's a 0/2. It costs 1 mana. When Sun Shower Druid enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and you gain 1 life. Hold on. So, if this is the first thing you play, it comes in as a 1/3 and you gain 1 life. That's a pretty decent common. That is pretty decent. I like that. Okay, now we're getting back into the lands here. Just 4 mountains. Okay. I think we have reached the end of the road here. Yes. Yeah, so we have now officially seen everything. Okay. So, there it is. That is all of the cards that we know of currently. And you can see these for yourself and forage through these if you want to at MTG Goldfish. This is the website that I use to dig up all of these cards. And it's usually the one I go to because they usually have all the cards and all the variations of all the cards as soon as they are known to the public. They are very fast about getting this stuff up. So, there it is. MTG Goldfish. Go check them out. Pretty good. Now, next thing that I want to talk about today is I want to talk about rotation. Rotation is going to be coming with Bloomburrow. So typically we would get rotation in the fall around like September, right? But this year we're getting it on July 30th when Bloomburrow comes to Arena. So let's just read this little blurb. This is in the Arena client right here. And this reads, with the release of Bloomburrow, Standard will be getting some changes as part of our yearly rotation effort. Rotation is the time of year where we rotate old sets out of a format to keep things fresh and foster deck diversity for play. For Standard, the following sets will no longer be legal in the format starting July 30th, 2024. So that means at the end of this month, we are getting rotation. So Innistrad Crimson Vow, Innistrad Midnight Hunt, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and Streets of New Capenna. All of those are going bye-bye. So what you can take from this is werewolves and vampires are gone. From Kamigawa, we are losing all of the channel lands. We are losing the Wandering Emperor. That's going to be gone. A lot of people are going to be very happy for that. Streets of New Capenna. Unfortunately, Streets of New Capenna was not very influential I would say probably like one card that a lot of people are going to be missing is probably Fight Rigging. Fight Rigging was a very fun card from that set. Also, there was Titan of Industry. One card that I personally am going to be missing from that set is Bobby Nix, the Planeswalker version of Ob Nixilis. That was a card that I absolutely love playing because I'm a big fan of like discard strategies in general, and that card really played to what I like to play. So I personally will be missing Bobby Nix, but we'll have other things to play with, so it's not going to be too bad. So yeah, that is that. Standard rotation coming at the end of the month. And also, Mastery Pass is going to be ending in 20 days. So I'm currently at level 88 of the, or actually 89 now, working towards 89 of the Mastery Pass. So I only have 20 days left to get these last 2 pages of the Mastery Pass. And also, let's go to the store real quick. Also, the Psychic Frog's Horizon Hideaway will be going away in 20 days as well. So we'll have only 20 days left to utilize these tokens. So if you happen to have unlocked the Psychic Frog's Horizon Hideaway, be sure to utilize your tickets before you can't. We only have 20 days left. So that's that. Standard rotation, end of the month. We're all going to have a lot of new things to be playing with, and we're going to have to be building our decks with rotation in mind. So don't get too comfortable playing with old cards, because pretty soon you won't be able to anymore. Now, another thing is, rotate that up, is we got new starter decks. Are they in the game yet? Yes, they are. Good. Okay, so these are the new starter decks. Some of these are still from like the... How am I going to word this? From the original starter. Like, you got Aerial Domination. You have Large and in Charge, Keep the Peace, Goblins Everywhere. Do we have the black one? Yeah, and Cold-Blooded Killers. So all of these single color starter decks are still here. They're not going anywhere. But now we got some new decks. We have Ancient Discovery. That's a red-white deck. We have Crack the Case. This is white and blue, very likely built around detectives and clue tokens. We have Desert Oasis, Dynamite. We have Fairy Pranks. We have Outlaw Posse. We got Power to the People. Then we have Saddle Up, Second Chance, and Snack Time. These are all of the new starter decks that everyone is going to have access to for the next year. And I personally am going to be digging into each of these, and I'm going to be publishing some upgrade guides for each of these decks. But before we get to that, let's take a look at these decks and see what they are giving us. So, sorry, I had a mental fog for a moment. With each of these starter decks, it basically is going to be adding each of these cards to your collection. So when you start the game, once you get past the tutorials and all that, each of these starter decks are going to be fully available to you, like without having to craft anything. At least that's how I understand it. So we have Attentive Sunscribe, 2/2 for 2. Whenever Sunscribe becomes tapped, scry 1. Okay. Petrify, enchant artifact or creature. Enchant a permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So it's a pacify. We have Guardian of the Great Door. It's a 4/4 flying angel. Connecting the Dots. Whenever a creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library face down. Pay 2, discard your hand, sacrifice Connecting the Dots. Put all cards exiled with Connecting the Dots into their owner's hands. It's interesting. If I were to upgrade this, I probably would take this card out in favor of something more impactful. Stockpiling Celebrant, Thousand Moons Infantry, Tinker's Tote, Brazen Blade Master, Atali's Favor. That's actually a pretty decent card. This card sometimes gets playing constructed. Mind Raider. Onimpa Call, very good. Great card. War Leader's Call, good. Ultec Cloud Guard. On the Job. Curator of Sun's Creation. Kaparakti Sunborn. Daring Discovery. Geological Appraiser. Bonehard Dracosaur, that's a good card to get. Aurelia, the Law Above. Hit the Motherlode. Okay, so you could probably pretty easily tell that this deck is going to be made for go wide strategies, making a lot of tokens, using the Discover mechanic to get more cards out of your deck for free. This is a pretty decent structure, and I think this will be a pretty easy deck to upgrade. Last year we had the white and red Rebel equipment deck, and that deck wasn't really good. And I did what I could to upgrade that one. It wasn't the best, but I was able to get some wins out of it, and so long as I can help someone take one of these starter decks and make it a little bit better, I think that's a good thing to do. That's what I enjoy most out of these starter decks, is cracking them out and just making them a little bit better for new players. They don't have to be like top shelf winning decks. I just want them to be good for new players. Okay, so I was right. This is a detective deck. Novice Inspector, Thinking Cap, Perimeter Enforcer, Seasoned Consultant, Unyielding Gatekeeper, Jaded Analyst, Prof's Eidetic Memory, very good, Officious Interrogation, Forensic Gadgeteer, Projector Inspector, Steam Core Scholar, that's a good card, Alquist Proft, Private Eye, Magnifying Glass. Okay, yeah. Oh, we got Ezram. Ezram's a cool card. I actually like Ezram a lot. Agency Outfitter, Hotshot Investigators. Okay, yeah, so, yeah, detectives. So here, the Desert Oasis. What's this deck going to be about? Probably deserts. And getting more deserts. Okay, so you got Rebel Belt. You got Jade Light Spelunker. When it enters the battlefield, it explores X times. We have Failed Fording. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand if you control a desert, surveil one. Yeah. Okay, that's an Explorer. Bristly Bill. Hard Bristle Bandit. Root Rider Fawn. We have Sentinel, the Nameless City. That's a good card. Okay, so this is a deck that wants to explore a lot and find its way to your deserts. Okay. I definitely see where they're going with this deck. And this deck definitely has some structure to it. I can work with this. Yeah. We'll definitely do something with that. Dynamite. Let's see what this deck is. All right. Commune with Nature. Leaping Ambush. Pick your poison. Itzkunth. Fanatical Strength. Burning Sun Cavalry. Okay, yeah, so this is your dinosaur tribal deck. This deck is going to be very popular with new players because it's dinosaurs. Why wouldn't it be popular? It's just fun, big, stompy boys. Oh, he's got the Trumpeting Carnosaur. That's one of my personal favorites. I love that card. Cavern Stomper, Earthshaker Dreadmaw, and Galta. Yeah, this deck is going to be real popular with new players. Here, Timmy. That deck's gonna be fun. Fairy Pranks. This one might be a little bit more my alley. Alright. So here we have Sleep Cursed Fairy. I personally think the Sleep Cursed Fairy is pretty underrated. I really like that card, and I finished a lot of games off the back of a Sleep Cursed Fairy. Sleight of Hand, Snarecaster's Sprite, 3 Steps Ahead, Fairy Dream Thief, Fairy Fencing, Deduce, Freeze in Place, Picklock Prankster, Spell Stutter, Barrow Naughty, Drag the Canal, Obira Dreaming Duel. Let me read Drag the Canal real quick. Blue-black, instant, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. If a creature died this turn, you gain 2 life, surveil 2, and investigate. Yeah, that's good. That is actually a pretty good card. Mocking Sprite, Quick Study, Talien's Messenger, Spell Score and Sprite, Talien, Roaming Throne, and Very Slumber Party. Yeah, I actually have a deck that is quite a bit like this already. So I'll definitely be able to help some people out with that. Let's see. Outlaw Posse. Let's check this out. Alright, so red-black Outlaws. Probably what you expect. Freebooter, Nezumi Linkbreaker, Tiny Bones, Shoot the Sheriff, Bad Mayor, Charming Scoundrel, Dead-Eyed Duelist, Magna, Scorching Shot, Vile Smasher. Yeah, this deck looks pretty good. Cerebral Confiscation, Rakish Crew, Vault Plunderer, Karavek the Punisher. These decks are actually pretty solid. I gotta... Laughing Jasper Flint. Yeah, I gotta say, these are definitely upgrades over last year's starter decks. These decks are good. I like it. Pardon me. Power to the people. Let's see what this is. This is black-white. Probably 2 power matters decks. So we have Snarling Gorehound. Assemble the players. Let's read that real quick. 2 mana. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Once each turn, you may cast a creature spell with power 2 or less from the top of your library. Okay, yeah, it's 2 power matters. Target creature is +2/+2 until on a turn, and investigate. Ironpaw Aspirant. 1/2. Enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Okay. Market Watch Phantom. Neighborhood Guardian. Outlaw Medic. Bat. Skullcap Snail. Interesting. Screaming Phantom. Wojak Investigator, that's a good card. Sanguine Evangelist, Makeshift Binding, Make Your Move. Delnay. Slimy Dual Leech. Consuming Ashes. Exile target creature if it had mana value 3 or less, surveil 2. Rankle's Prankle, that's a good card. Wisp Drinker Vampire. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life, you get 1 life. Okay. And expel the Interlopers. Okay. So this one, probably not as good, but I see where they're going with it. Saddle Up. Okay, this is going to be your white-green mounting deck. Acrobatic Leap, Steer Clear, Ankle Biter, Cooped Up, Bristlepack Sentry, Intrepid Stable Master, Third from the Saddle, Seraphic Steed, Fortune, Moment of Valor, Thousand Moves Infantry, Vengeful Townsfolk. Yeah, so this is all of your outlaws and outlaw type things. Ooh, it's got a Railway Brawler. That's pretty good. Gruff Triplets, Bounding Fountain. Oh, hang on. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put up X +1/+1 counters on where X is its power. That's pretty funny. I like that. Okay. Well, we already went through all of the new cards that were revealed today for Bloomburrow. So we've already taken a look at that. And we already took a look at the rotation. So in case you weren't here for that, the rotation is happening at the end of this month. So, and with rotation means we're losing the last 4 sets and we are gaining Bloomburrow, and we also are getting all of these new starter decks that are coming with rotation. And so the kind people at Wizards of the Coast have given us a bevy of new starter decks to play with. So I'm taking a look at them, seeing what their themes are, because I plan on making some starter deck upgrade videos for new players. And so far, these are pretty good. Like, the single color ones, these are the original single color starter decks that you may remember from when you first started playing the game. But all of these other ones are new. So you have a Discovery deck, you have a Detectives deck, a Desert Theme deck, a Dinosaur deck, a 2 Power Matters deck, a Outlaw deck, you have this deck that's about mounts. We have a fairy deck. And now we're going to take a look at this second chance deck. So I'm assuming this is an Izzet Spellslinger deck. So let's take a peek at this real quick. Reckless Lackey, Shock, Hell to Pay, Aquatic Alchemist. Yep, that's exactly what I thought it would be. It is a Spellslinger deck with a few like spells, matter kind of creatures, that kind of thing. Slick Sequence, Breaches, Flick a Coin, Case of the Crimson Pulse. Yeah, we're just checking them out right now. I'm not doing anything with them today. I'm just taking a peek at them, and then I'll probably dig into each of these next week and turn these into videos for our beginner players. It's one thing I like to do whenever we get new starter decks. All right, and this is our last one. This is Snack Time. It's a green-black, I'm assuming, food-based deck. So, we've got Minstrosity, the Sugar Rush, Mosswood Dreadnought, love that card, Titanic Growth, Assassin's Trophy, Experimental Confectioner, Feed the Cauldron, Gumdrop Poisoner, another great card. We got Sweet Tooth Witch, Hollow Scavenger, Return from the Wild, Spider Food, The Huntsman's Redemption, Wildwood Mentor, Greta, Provisions Merchant, Bristlebud Farmer, Reach for the Sky, Lich Knight's Conquest, interesting, Scream Puff, great name for a card by the way, Scream Puff, Gingerbread Hunter, and then you got some lands. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are all of our new standard decks that we're getting. What is this example Brawl decks? These sample Brawl decks do not count towards your deck limit. Clone a deck and edit it to make it your own. Okay, so this is just some sample Brawl decks. I don't think we need to worry too much about those. Okay, so that's it. We have taken a look at all of the new cards that are going to be available to us. We have taken a look at rotation, and we now know that rotation is coming in 20 days. And if you've been playing for a decent while this past year, you are going to get a renewal egg. Let me see, where is the renewal egg at? There it is, renewal rewards. So on July 30th, when rotation happens, this little egg is going to open up, and you're going to get some rewards out of it. Probably like individual card rewards, that kind of thing. So that's what you're going to get from there. So that is it for tonight. I need to get ready for bed because I have work tomorrow. Boo. But if you're still here, I thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight, and look forward to some starter deck upgrades in the next week or so. I plan on pumping those out pretty soon. But before I do that, I do want to build one more deck for myself and put that on the channel. So look forward to that, and I thank you very much for hanging out with me all this time, and y'all have a good night and sleep time. Take care of yourselves. Take care.